It's time for that Covrprice Top 10. We're going back 1 year. Here we go, guys. This is the Covrprice Top 10 from a year ago. What were those books worth then? What are they worth today? Before we get into it, hit me up on all the social media at VERYGARY_comics. Hit the subscription button if you haven't already, the thumbs up, and leave a comment. How many books on this list do you have or have you had? All right, and one last thing. I want to remind everyone about King Con this month, the end of March. I think it's the 25th and 26th, Iceland, New Jersey. The APA Hotel. Tickets are on sale now. We've got artists at the show, a CGC facilitator. It is my first convention of 2023. I'll be set up there. Tickets you can find over at Eventbrite. Just Google King Con, New Jersey, and the tickets will come right up. It's $10 a day, 2-day show, $15 for both days. You cannot beat that. Literally 2 rooms full of comic books and a little bit of toys, plus the artist, the CGC facilitator. It's an outstanding show. Everyone I talk to is super, super excited for it. I can't wait. First one of 2023 for me. All right, let's get into this list. Again, guys, this list comes to us from our friends over at Covrprice. This is focusing on their top 10. They reflect on what the top 10 trends were 1 year ago. I'm going to take you through how each title's sales compare from last year's market values to today's current values. How did these comics do? What had a boost? What had a bust? And what number do we start with? You guys know. We start with number 10. This is Amazing Spider-Man 209. This time last year, it was reported that actress Ariana DeBose would appear in Sony Pictures' Marvel movie Kraven the Hunter. Although it was unconfirmed, sources claimed that DeBose would play Calypso in the movie. That was enough for fans to buy Calypso's first appearance and origin in this Spider-Man issue, hitting a high sale of $80 raw. $600 in a CGC 9.8. 1 year later, we know now this was confirmed in May of 2022, yet the market moved on. Today, raws sell for $17. 9.8s are at $288. This is a bust. However, almost feels like a post-hype sleeper kind of bust. Everyone kind of forgotten about this book. $17 for a near mint raw copy. I don't know. It just seems like this book could hit $30, $35. But keep in mind, everything in 2022 was high and has worked their way back down to earth. One thing I do want everyone to remember as well, books are still valued more and higher than they were in 2019 pre-COVID. I don't know if we're going to hit those 2019 numbers again. I think we're going to stay above it. We'll see. You're going to see a lot of busts. However, let's see if they ever hit 2019. Let's go to number 9. This is Batman number 2 from 2011. This is the new 52. With the Batman heating up the box office this time last year, many walked out of the film discussing what might be next for Robert Pattinson's Batman. Many fans are hoping for an appearance of the Court of Owls. Robert Pattinson was asked about this secret Gotham cabal, and he responded that the Court of Owls is probably going to be in the sequel. I mean, I'm literally just guessing. However, that's enough for plenty of speculators, YouTube channels, and other news sources to spin that comment and chop off the just guessing part. This bit of speculation helped the first appearance of Talon, the court's assassin, and the court's first mention in this issue to take off, hitting highs of $30 raw, $250 in a 9.8. 1 year later, there's been no solid confirmation of the Court of Owls for a theatrical appearance, yet they have been rumored to appear in CW's Gotham Knights. Raws fell just a tad to $28, but fell hard to $93 in a 9.8. This is a bust, but keep in mind, this is a fan favorite Batman run that continues to get more and more attention along with Talon in the Court of Owls. This is still a great long-term book. It is. I actually always felt that this book, the whole Court of Owls, was slightly undervalued, and then this happened and it became inflated. Now it's coming back down to earth, but keep in mind, these prices are still higher than they were. If you haven't read the new 52 Batman run, do yourself a favor and do it. They've turned it into 2 omnibus. It's an amazing read. Scott Snyder is the writer, and on the vast, vast, vast majority of books, it's Capullo on the art. I think there's like 1 or 2 books he wasn't on, and I think the reason he wasn't on them was because he was working on a double issue. So they had a fill-in artist with like a quick story, and then boom, Capullo, double issue. This is the run that got me back into comic books. this New 52 Batman run. You won't be disappointed, I promise you. Let's go to number 8. This is the New Avengers number 7. This time last year, the Illuminati's live-action appearance was still only rumored to appear in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Yet, like many books, even the loose rumor was enough to put it to new highs, trending at $75 raw, $500 for CGC 9.8. 1 year later, Multiverse of Madness has come and gone, with the Illuminati meeting a violent end at the hands of the Scarlet Witch. Post-film, this book fell hard to its current $17 raw and $100 in a 9.8. This is a bust, but will we ever see the Illuminati in the core MCU? I personally don't know if we ever will, but here's a fun fact about this book. This book was inked by Mark Morales. Mark Morales is one of the artists that will be at KingCon in March, and what I'm going to do is I will have a Whatnot stream with Mark Morales. This is just a crazy coincidence. Yeah, I'm plugging my own Whatnot stream, but that's okay. So if you're interested in any of the artwork from Mark Morales, I'm going to have him on. We're going to be doing signatures, sketches, probably sell an actual page from a book that he's done, 1 or 2 of those, and you guys will have the opportunity to get those sent off to CGC. I'll be able to handle that for you on the Whatnot stream. I'll explain that during the stream. With that, let's get to number 7. This is Moon Knight number 9. This is the 1 in 25 with a great variant cover from Martin Simmons. This issue also features the first appearance of Rutherford Winter, a former Hydra agent. While first appearing in the digital-only Daughters of the Dragon Marvel Digital Original number 2, this issue marks his first official comic book appearance. It hit highs of $80 for a raw copy, $148 in a 9.8. 1 year later, if you didn't say Martin, who? Then you're actually reading the Moon Knight series. This character is still around, but no longer trending like he was last year. Today, raws of this variant sell for $18 or less, and the last 9.8 sale went for $115. I am not reading the Moon Knight run, so I was one of those people who said, Martin, who? So it's probably right now where it should be. 1 in 25s are not the easiest book, the easiest variant to hang on to, especially Moon Knight. Like, we've talked about this before. How many comic shops are ordering 25 copies of Moon Knight to get this 1 in 25? I don't know. I'm sure some of your LCSs are, and that's great. But I imagine there's only 1 or 2 max of these getting, that the LCSs are even ordering based on allocation. Let's get to number 6. This is Twig, the Ash Can, number 1. This time last year, Twig was a highly anticipated series by Scotty Young and Kyle Strom. This Ash Can was only available on Kyle's site for $20, which quickly sold out and flipped to sites like eBay for a premium. Raw copies hit high sales of $202.50, with a CGC 9.8 selling for $500 a few months later. 1 year later, Twig is still a popular series, but much less than it was a year ago. This Ash Can still holds the value, but sells for $103 raw, $299 for a 9.8. While this is a bust, those are pretty good value holds, as copies fell to $100 within a few days of being on eBay. So not bad. It's probably something that's not going to drop too much, and I think it's basically because there's not a whole lot of them out there. I haven't read the Twig series. Love the artwork on it, though. We'll see. If you're reading Twig, let me know down in the comment section below. And let's get to number 5. This is Daredevil number 310. The Calypso news was so hot that fans picked up her first appearance, then the first cover appearance, then the first ongoing series. This particular issue features the first cover appearance of Calypso. We tracked it at a high sale of $30 raw, $75 for a CBCS 9.8. 1 year later, raws sell for $2, and no 9.8s have sold in 2023. This is a bust. This had bust written all over it. I mean, grabbing the first appearance makes more sense, but usually that's how these things go, right? First appearance gets crazy money. If the cover isn't in the first appearance, first character cover for usually the first cover, the first ongoing, all these titles kind of start to follow the actual true first appearance. So Calypso had a lot of love, man. I remember all this going on last year. What are we on now? 4? Nope. Let's get to 3. This is Bodies number 1. Last year, Deadline reported that Bodies, Netflix greenlights adaptation of Cy Spencer's mind-bending graphic novel from Pursuit of Love producer Moonage Pictures. This news immediately moved all cheap copies off from eBay with a high sale of $45 for a raw copy. 1 year later, the market has forgotten about this book that now sells for $12 raw. Once a project is announced, some projects take years to produce while most quietly go away. Content-based books are always a gamble. This is a bust. And take this one, use this as a great example. We heard about witches years ago, book exploded, and then it came back down to earth. And now I think we're hearing more rumors of witches. The same thing happened with Something is Killing the Children. We heard it was picked up, book went crazy, and then nothing, silence, and the book came back down. And now they've officially confirmed Something is Killing the Children. Boom, back up. So these are really, really risky gambles when it comes to optioned shows and movies. And I'm not talking Marvel, DC mainstream stuff. I'm really talking kind of indie stuff, obscure indie stuff. So be careful. Let's get to number 2. This is Avengers Forever number 3. Last year, Mariana Spector, the first female Moon Knight, debuted in this issue of Avengers Forever number 3. We tracked it at a high sale of $22.50 for a raw copy, $175 for 9.8. 1 year later, this new character heat may have settled, but it's still selling for a premium over cover price. Selling for $14 in a near mint, $125 in a 9.8. Another bust on our list, guys. But I mean, at this point, $14 for a first appearance near mint copy of a character. Why not? And a female character. You know, say what you will, but the MCU is always leaning towards female right now, so it's still a gamble. I don't think she'll come to the MCU, but still worth looking at for $14. Let's get to number 1, but before we do, I want to remind everybody, head over to covrprice.com. In the description down below, you get yourself a discount code, sign up. It's a fantastic site. I was going to say something. Oh, give them a follow and a subscribe over on YouTube as well. They've been putting out some content here. So check that out. And with that, let's go to number 1. This is Batman The Long Halloween Special Edition. The Batman IMAX promo. 1 year ago, the Batman releases in theaters. As a surprise promotion, multiple IMAX theaters around the country provided the free promotional copy of The Long Halloween by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale as they entered the theater, featuring a new cover by Simone Bianchi with characters resembling their on-screen appearance. My goodness, sorry, good thing we're on number 1. We tracked it at a high sale of $75 for a raw copy with no graded copies. 1 year later, this free comic proved to be plentiful and had far more supply than demand as the months passed. Additionally, this cover was used on the variant for Harley Quinn 13, taking any and all steam out of this free promo. Today, it now sells for $5, 9/8 selling for a respectable $100. This is a bust, but still worth grading any high-grade raws. Think about that. You can buy raws right now for $5 to $10, get them graded, and then they're selling at about $100. That's not really bad. That's not bad at all. So think about that. Let's wrap this one up. Let's talk numbers. This seemed like a lot of busts, and if you've been paying attention to these videos over the last month or 2, or maybe even 3, we've got more busts than we have profited here. Booms, busts. Let's wrap this one up here. This was a complete bust list. This list featured content-driven announcements and FOMO new releases. It was the content-driven books that hurt the most, hitting all-time highs upon those announcements and falling hard 1 year later. Keep in mind that content-based heat is always the time to sell, especially when it comes to supporting characters. If it's not a central character, it's very rare for anything driven off an announcement to retain the value long-term. With that said, some of the best buys were the FOMO books, the new character appearances. Even then, you can probably sit most of this list out for now. Guys, make sure you check out covrprice.com, their movers and shakers list, their top 10. Come back next time because we're going to go back 2 years. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, keep it comics.